Hey, this is Heather Christie. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to share with you an exercise that I just did with a couple of different clients that I think is a really, really powerful exercise to get people really thinking about 2021 and getting them ready for an extraordinary year. I can't go without acknowledging that 2020 was a very interesting year filled with lots of change. So how do you break through that place that you are in 2020 and all of the change, the turmoil with the pandemic, and set your sights on a really powerful 2021? Here's the exercise. So I'm going to describe it, and you might want to think about doing this for yourself, but I'm going to share a story too outside of that exercise that I think is really powerful. So the exercise goes like this. Number one, what is your current level of stress? So really identifying, using a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is the lowest, like no stress, everything's perfect. 10 is obviously like max stress. So ask yourself that question and answer it. Where are you right now? How are you feeling right now in terms of your stress? And I want you to acknowledge that if you are over a 7, maybe even over a 6, that amount of stress is okay short term. It's not okay long term. Like human beings are not meant to deal with chronic stress. What happens when you're super stressed is you're activating a different part of your brain, and it's not your thinking brain. So of course, that's no good. You will really struggle making powerful and thoughtful decisions without having access to your thinking brain. When you're stressed out, you narrow your focus on the problem at hand. And so when you're doing that, you're not leaving any room for you to tap into your creativity or your resourcefulness. So again, short term, okay. Long term, like if you feel like you're at a 6 or a 7 or even higher, and you know that you've been that way for some time, it's really time to start thinking about what you're doing to reduce that stress. How much time have you invested in learning strategies to reduce your stress? This is really important because if you're in that level of stress, you're also unable to repair your body and restore. If you're having trouble sleeping, especially if you're having trouble sleeping, your body is not restoring itself. It means it's out of whack, right? And when it's out of whack, you are much more likely to be susceptible to illness, right? It messes with your immune system. So don't let that happen to you. All right, so that's the first part of the lesson. And you're like, okay, so far not so much fun, right? I'm just scoring myself. But the next part is where it gets really cool. So when you think about your future self, like what does ideal look like for you? Who do you want to be? And I just did this exercise. I was just on a session with 150 leaders from around the country. And I had them chat in, who do you want to be in 2021? And notice I didn't say, what do you want to do? That comes later. But I want you to really think about, who do you want to be? Describe yourself. Make a list of descriptive words that really share who you want to be as your ideal self in 2021. So I heard things like, I want to be empowered. I want to be an example. I want to be a leader. I want to be excited and passionate about life and business. I heard, I want to be wealthy, right? Like, are you ready for abundance? I want to be, okay, so one of our clients said, I want to be more forgiving. And she admitted that she's just a little bit judgy. So that was really big for her in 2021 and been something she'd been thinking about. Well, here's the exercise. Make that list for yourself, okay? But it doesn't end there. As soon as you've made that list for yourself, I want you to take a pause, take a moment. And if you're doing this as a team exercise, or even if you're doing this on video technology as a team exercise, ask people to review their list and share at least one item with each other. It's really powerful to crowdsource this. And by the way, if you're tuning into this live or recorded session, write down, who do you want to be? Give me one of your descriptors. Tell me what's important for you in 2021. And once you've done that, now you're going to stop, review your list. And by the way, you can market research and take as many descriptors from others that sound good to you, add those to your list. But now it's time to feel, okay? I want you to close your eyes and generate the feelings that you would feel once you have accomplished that, once you have become that ideal future self that you've just described. How does that feel? And I want you to literally close your eyes and just feel those emotions. It's almost like you're practicing what it's going to feel like, or rehearsing, right? What it's going to feel like once you've gotten to that place. And sit with those feelings. Feel, like literally feel those feelings. Practice those feelings, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. And guess what you've been doing? If you scored a 6 or higher on the stress meter, you've actually been practicing being stressed out. So I'm just suggesting that you could practice a different level of emotion. And when you have an elevated emotion, when it feels good, you're sending a different signal to your body, and all good things happen. So that's the exercise. And one other quick story about, remember the woman who I told you about, who said that she wanted to be more forgiving. So I had a conversation with her outside of that exercise. And I said, so tell me, what was that exercise like for you? Like, how did that go? And she said, it was actually really cool. She said, you know how I said I wanted to be more forgiving? She said, it's something I've been thinking about for a while. And she has a relationship that's really been strained with her father. And she decided that maybe it was time to forgive her father. And so she takes me through and tells me, what had happened in the past, and just some of the struggles that she had. And she didn't talk to him for months. So she said, I think I'm ready to forgive him. And I said, okay, so when are you going to do that? And I think I caught her off guard with the, okay, by when, as any good coach would do, right? And she said, by Christmas. And what was so crazy is that I literally saw a shift in her when she made that decision, when she made the commitment that she was ready to let it go and release it. I swear to you, her physiology shifted. And what's funny is she totally got it too. She just kind of looked at me and she was kind of surprised. And I said, okay, what just happened? She said, it's already done. And I said, okay, tell me about it. What do you mean? And she said, she said, when I said by Christmas, and she pointed like kind of to her heart area, she goes, it just released. And I said, it's gone. And she said, and she's sitting there and she's trying to see if she can feel that resentment still. And she couldn't even feel it. She's like, it's gone. She goes, I can't even make it up right now. And she goes, I feel 50 pounds lighter. And she looked 50 pounds lighter. So I was like, oh my gosh, it was so cool to experience that with her, to literally watch her transform because of two things. One, she got clear on what she wanted and what that felt like. And she actually took those 2 minutes, which, by the way, was a struggle for her to close her eyes for 2 minutes and feel. But she took those 2 minutes, she felt what it would feel like to get rid of that resentment and to forgive. And she said it felt so good. So she'd already practiced what it would feel like. And so that when I asked her the question, by when, she was ready to just make that decision. And so it was in that decision that gave her her freedom. She didn't have to have a conversation with him. I mean, hopefully she has by now. But it wasn't about having the conversation. It wasn't about right or wrong. It was literally her just giving that up in the moment. So I am so excited for her and for what happens in 2021, and all of you who have worked with me in the last couple of weeks and have already done this exercise. Tremendous things are coming. And share, by the way, if you see this and you've already done the exercise, share. What did you get out of doing this exercise? Super powerful. If you're in a leadership position and you have the ability to run a team meeting and you can share this exercise with your team, I'm telling you, it is a powerful exercise. And it gets people on the right track for 2021. So if you know somebody who might like to hear this and do this exercise, please share it with them. And if you have any questions about the exercise or how to do it, leave me a message. You can private message me, but do it in the chat too, so I can share with others as well. We're recording this live on LinkedIn. You might be listening to this in the audio podcast version on your favorite podcast app. And if that's the case, you can always shoot me an email at heather@heatherchristie.com if you have any questions about how to facilitate that exercise. All right. Well, happy holidays to everybody. I'll probably see you again before we wrap up the year. If you like it, please share it. And please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Have an awesome day.